So, I'm a male nurse at a large hospital in San Francisco. I work in the ER, and as it is custom Thanksgiving night, it was very busy. Now, my wife is also a nurse for the same hospital. She works in labor and delivery. Between babies being born left and right and the people coming into the ER, we hadn't had a chance to take a break together as we tried to do every shift. So when she called, I figured it was to say she wanted to meet up for a bite to eat in the cafeteria. When I answered, I heard in the background a male voice screaming profanities in the background, and my wife, who was fluent in Spanish, trying to calm this guy down. She told me their pager wasn't working and they needed security stat. I quickly hung up and called for security and told my fellow nurses what was going on and ran for labor and delivery, worried sick about my wife. I ran almost square smack dab into this visibly angry man. He wasn't huge, but he definitely worked out and not at the gym. He was covered in prison tattoos and he was obviously a banger. I work out regularly, but I knew this guy could kick my ass. He looked at me, gave me this sick grin, and started heading towards me, sprouting off in Spanish. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but what I could understand scared the living shit out of me. I'm backing up as fast as I can. I start buzzing the door to the ER, frantically for them to let me in. This guy's literally a foot away from me, and the door opens and I'm pulled into safety by a doctor. Gangbanger punches the door a few times and makes a dragging sign across his throat while grinning at us both. Next thing I know, the police rush into the corridor he's in, and it takes 2 security officers and 2 cops to subdue this dude. I finally make it to my wife, who thankfully was shaken up but unhurt. She explained to me what happened. A young girl, only 14, came in, high fever, vomiting, distended belly. The banger claimed he was her brother and they needed to cut her open to get her baby. They did an ultrasound and to their horror, they realized she wasn't pregnant. She had bags of drugs in her stomach. It's very common for drug mules to bring over young women from Mexico carrying drugs that way. Homeboy freaked out when they informed him that his sister needed emergency surgery. And no, he wasn't getting his drugs. Thankfully the girl survived, but the sad thing is she's most likely going to be deported once she recovers. So, gangbanger who wanted to kill me, let's never meet again. I was driving back to my college from my family's house after Thanksgiving break. I was traveling to a rural area in the Midwest, and I suddenly had the urge to pee. Badly. I was reading all the road signs I came across to see if there was a nearby town that I could stop at, to find a gas station or somewhere to use the restrooms. Unfortunately, the nearest town was 30-ish miles away, and I had to pee so badly. It was completely unbearable. I finally made the decision to get off at the next exit that I found, even though they don't lead to any towns. Shortly after I pulled off onto the next exit, I came across a gravel road. I thought that this was perfect because I didn't want to get in any trouble for exposing myself in front of anybody. It was a very private road. So just so you're all aware, I'm a female. It's very difficult for females to pee on the side of the road. I thought the best course of action would be to take my empty McDonald's cup and pee into that. I did just that, inside of my car, just in case anyone drove down the lonely road. I finished my business and dumped the cup into the grass on the side of the road. I was starting my car and getting ready to turn my car around back the way I came, when I saw a bright red car speeding down the road I was on. It startled me, but they drove right on past. I thought to myself, must be the locals out messing around. I started to drive off and I saw a dingy, rusted red pickup truck coming down the road after the car. They too drove past me. As they passed though, I saw 2 male passengers who were staring straight at me. This freaked me out, but I told myself all the more reason to get a move on. I still kept my eye on the pickup truck though, and I saw them turning around, coming straight at me. This freaked me out so much, I decided the best course of action would be to drive in their direction, continuing on the gravel road as opposed to turning around, giving them an opportunity to chase after me. I drove right by them again, and saw that they were grinning at me. I was so scared, I hit the gas, which on a gravel road doesn't do much good. I finally got a grip on the road and headed along the gravel roads. I looked in my rearview mirror, and they were following me again. I was freaked out. My hands were shaking, my foot was flooring the accelerator, and I reached for my phone. Now, I'm not the person to call 911 in just any situation. In fact, I was scared to call 911 because I was afraid I was just being paranoid. But as I looked in my rearview mirror again and saw them gaining on me, I called the police. When I called the police, the operator picked up and I explained to her what was happening. During this phone call, the men in the pickup truck were so close that I couldn't see their front tires. I was sliding all around the gravel road, trying to stay on the phone with the operator. She was giving me directions to the nearest town several miles away. They followed me the entire way there, all the way until I reached the police station. I saw them turn around very quickly because they knew I was out of their reach. I definitely learned my lesson from this, and I think from now on, I'll stick to peeing in public restrooms. Last Thanksgiving, I was on my way from Ohio to Florida with my girlfriend to spend a holiday with my family. We left late and I was really tired, but we wanted to drive straight through so we had more time there. I was almost out of West Virginia, around exit 114 on 77 South, I think, and I was running low on gas. It was around 2 in the morning at that point. I used my GPS to find a gas station near the highway, and it said there was one coming up, so I took the exit right away. After a couple of minutes of driving in the middle of nowhere, I got to the gas station. I pulled in, and it looked mostly abandoned, besides the clerk you could see through the window, and a car and a truck around the corner on the other side of the lot. My girlfriend was asleep in the passenger seat, and I decided to let her sleep. I started the pump, and decided to run in and use the restroom, and wash off my makeup, since it was almost my turn to sleep. When I got into the gas station, the clerk was really surprised and told me that he thought the door was locked and that I shouldn't have been able to get in. I told him I really had to use the restroom and he let me go back. The whole conversation was just a few seconds long and I kind of jogged to the restroom, and just as the restroom door was swinging shut, I heard the front door ding again. I thought it was the clerk locking up. I finished up and went to go back to my car, and just as I was heading for the door, the clerk almost yelled, "Hold on, don't go out there!" He started asking a bunch of questions about who I was with, like, who was in your car? When he realized I was confused, he got more concerned looking, and started asking me questions about the big guy. He said some guy followed me up to the gas station, and came in just after me, and started asking a lot about me like he knew me or was with me. The clerk said that after the guy walked back out, he went over to my car and was hovering around it for a while and then went back behind the gas station. The entire time he was talking, the clerk looked freaked. He told me to get back to my car quickly and that he would keep an eye on me until I got there. As I was reaching for my door handle, my girlfriend unlocked the door. I got in, she locked them behind me, and I realized she was in complete panic mode. She told me to drive now. She said she woke up and saw some guy come into the gas station right behind me, and when he came back out, he came over and started knocking on the window, asking about me, asking about what we were doing, and demanding that she open the door. She just kept shaking her head no and staring forward, while he just kept asking questions and saying, "Oh, so you're gonna be like that?" She said that he just seemed like a creepy guy that was weirdly trying to get a date, but I couldn't stop thinking about how he followed me up to the gas station. If the door would have been locked like the clerk said, I would have turned around and probably ran into him. I couldn't help but think about what could have happened. There's no way I could have fought him off if he actually tried something. My girlfriend's weaker than me, and the clerk wasn't really big himself. I don't think anybody could have helped us if things went wrong. I ended up driving for a few more states because I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking about what could have happened. Thanksgiving night a couple of years ago, I was sitting in my parents' living room watching a movie when my younger sister burst through the door hysterical. I asked her what was wrong, but she was panicking to the point that she could not speak. She just kept trying to call her boyfriend. After calming down, she explained to us that while she was driving home on a dark, somewhat secluded road, a couple of creeps began harassing her. They were driving uncomfortably close behind her, and then they tried running her off the road. She called her boyfriend, who came to her rescue by getting the guys' attention. My sister made it home, but she was worried about her boyfriend because he wasn't answering his phone. After calling again and again, he finally picked up his phone. My sister overheard some of the conversations he was having with these jerks, and she heard someone say something about a gun. She freaked out, and my parents called the police and took her down to meet with her boyfriend and a cop. Apparently, the guys were drunk and had pulled a gun on her boyfriend. They found them and hopefully punished them accordingly. People are fucking idiots!